Hello, crypto boys and ghouls, and welcome back to the channel, Tales from the Cryptmancer, where we feature content on play and earn games on the blockchain, such as Stella Fantasy. And in today's video, I wanted to walk you through a secret or a tip or a trick that I think is imperative to know if you want to basically ramp up your resource production and basically have the ability to farm unlimited amounts of resources basically on a daily basis. We'll talk about what quote unlimited means here in just a second, but it's a very good priority that I think people should be looking into and prioritizing as they get further into this game. Now, this video is coming to you here on the eve of mobile being launched for Stella Fantasy, which is very exciting. So we very shortly could have a lot more players in Stella Fantasy. And so knowing this trick or secret as it pertains to resources can really help you get a jump start on your other players that are coming to the game either now or been playing for a little bit, really just to help your progression here. So let me hop into the details here and let me explain it for you. And it really comes down to resource production, right? If we go into my resource production right here, you can see that I have storage leveled up. So I have 3 levels of all my resources in Stella Fantasy enabled right now. But the key point of this tip or secret is getting your lumber mill, your mineral forge, and your leather workshop to level 41. Let's take a look at why here. So if I go to my lumber mill here, and I go to my level 41 lumber mill, so I'm essentially producing here the tier 1, tier 2, and also tier 3 lumber here on an 8-hour basis. And if I wanted to enhance here, you can see to get to level 42, it's pretty expensive. It's like 210 of each resource plus 650 mana rings. But really what I want to get to is level 1, just so I can unlock the production of these tier 3 resources. Let me go ahead and claim these resources here for lumber. We're going to claim these. You can see 197 of those tier 3 lumber. We're going to do the same thing for minerals. You can see here when I claim, I've got that level 41 mineral forge, which I'm getting 142 of those tier 3 mineral resources. I'm going to go to leather. I have a level 41 leather workshop. You can see here, I'm also getting, in this particular case, 145 of the tier 3 leather. I'll just go ahead and claim the mana rings while I'm here as well. And why is that tier 3 material the secret to basically unlimited harvesting here on a daily basis? Well, if we go here back to storage, what we can see here, if I go to wood exchange, every day I can go in here and I can exchange 300 tier 3 resources, which is the tier 3 that I'm getting here, into premium wood, which is the tier 2 resource. Every day, 300 of those, which I'm producing like 145 per 8 hours. So I'm always going to produce more than I can exchange in the store on a daily basis over a 24-hour period. Those 300 tier 3 resources turn into 900 tier 2 resources. Why is that important? Well, it's important because tier 2 resources are what you use to farm the main story quest here, to get your powders, to get your rare gear resources, as well as your SR gear resources here. And if I go into storage every day and I'm exchanging those tier 3 resources courtesy of my level 41 basically building here within Stella Fantasy, I'm getting 900 tier 2 resources plus whatever else I get through the 24 hours. So 900 tier 2 resources just from the exchange daily, right? If I'm looking at the main story quest as an example, like if I wanted to basically farm here on, let's say 315, for storage permits and dust, well, it's cost me 10 resources per basically attempt. Now, if I'm getting 900 tier 2s just from my exchanges, well, that's 90 runs here of the level 315, plus whatever else I do for farming on tier 2 resources, which is probably another 600 resources there. So we're doing at least 150 runs of level 315 for this example, which I don't know about you, but I mean, if I'm doing this passively and doing it on auto mode with Z command, I mean, 150 attempts, let's say it takes, 3 minutes per attempt to go through and farm that resource. Well, that's 450 minutes of playing this game and farming, which is honestly probably what more than most people have available to farm in this game, because that's almost, what, 8 hours? I mean, if you count the tier 2 resources. So it's like a full-time job farming resources once you get to level 41 buildings. And that's the key here, because basically when I say that this is the secret to farming indefinitely, you'll eventually run out of resources every day, of those, let's say 450 tier 2 runs or whatever. So you're getting 900 from your level 3 exchanges, and then you're probably getting another 600 from your regular tier 2 rewards. So again, that's like 1,500 runs there. It's 150 1,500 resources, 150 runs of a level 315. It would be cut in half if you did a higher tier main story quest, so you'd be doing still 75. It's still more than most people could actually physically do in a day to farm. So therein lies the secret. Once you get to a point where you're farming the story and you're farming your unique abysses pretty easily, and you've got a good amount of gear, your priority in my mind to advance and progress further in Stella Fantasy is to get each of your lumber mill, your mineral forge, and your leather workshop to level 41, in which case you can then farm indefinitely and not have to worry about resources pretty much at all. So you're probably going to wonder, what's the cost to do that? Again, it's going to take some time to get to level 41. It's roughly 210 level 2 resources plus 650 mana rings plus the permits. So basically when you're upgrading to level 41, you're basically going to have to stop farming gear at that point and dedicate all of your resources just to leveling up your building. Now, what I specifically did is I leveled one at a time. I, for example, took, in my example, I took my mineral forge to level 41 first. Once I got it to level 41, then I focused on my leather workshop, got that to level 41, and then I focused on my lumber mill and got that to level 41. So I did specifically one building at a time just to unlock that tier 3 resource. And basically what I started with was the basically the one that was the lowest common denominator. So what I mean by lowest common denominator, like if I go into my resources right now, and let's say I wanted to look at leveling up my buildings here to level 41, what I would do is I would look at my tier 2 resources, which is my premium resources. So premium wood, premium leather, premium mineral, whatever is lowest there. For me, what I have the less or the least amount of, that's what I'm going to level up first, because once I do level that up, because that's going to be my lowest common denominator, that's what's going to be my limiting factor on leveling. Once I do get that to level 41, then I'm going to start producing the tier 3 resources, which are magical resources. And then I can then trade those in for tier 2s, which then basically quickly ramps up the ability for me to limit that as the lowest common denominator for my building upgrades. So again, I would focus on one at a time, pick the resource that you have the least of, to be your starting building that you focus on, get that leveled up. And you can see here, like I just leveled my buildings to level 41 yesterday, maybe basically a day and a half ago. So basically in a day and a half, I already have more resources than I can use. I already have, let's say, 3,000 premium leather plus another 165 magical that I can exchange first thing in the morning. So I'm already stockpiling more resources than I can spend just farming throughout the day. So this is the secret here. Once you get that up to level 41, then you're pretty much free rolling the resourcing game at that point. You're farming SR gear as much as you can. You're farming magical powder or dust. And then you're also farming storage permits pretty much all day long if you wanted to at that point in time. And you want to get to there as soon as you can. So basically, once you get to a point where you're comfortable with your gear level, I would definitely recommend moving into focusing on your buildings, getting that to level 41. I think that's a secret and a tip and a strategy that will accelerate your progression in Stella Fantasy. So hopefully this tip and trick has been beneficial for you. If it has, make sure you smash the like button and also subscribe to the channel for more updates in the future on Stella Fantasy, and looking forward to the mobile version, being able to play that on mobile and farm while on the go. Until next time, keep stacking those stats.